No, a lot of people use it and communicate with, I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
It spans the globe like a superhighway. It is called internet.
The internet has drastically changed the way we work and has come to transform society on a global scale. As the internet was growing, the biggest change came in the form of instant communication. As long as you have an internet connection, you could talk to anyone on earth, assuming of course they were also connected to the internet. The thing is that internet was not designed with things like anonymity and privacy keeping in mind. So any activity you perform online can, and in many cases will, be tracked, recorded and traceable back to you. When you open any app on your phone and send any information, you don't usually think about where that data might end up. Facebook, Google, Twitter and their surveillance system. Anytime you use a product that is free, somehow its company has to pay its employees. So that means you are not really at the cost per, because you are not paying them. And that means you are the product. And that's why you have to pay them all your personal information. But some people are very concerned about their privacy. And in the mid-90s, one such group of people was the United States federal government, a team of computer scientists and mathematicians working for the branch of US Navy known as the Naval Research Laboratory, abbreviated as NRL, began the development of a new technology known as onion routing. Onion routing is a technique that allows us for anonymous communication over a computer network where the source and destination cannot be determined by a midpoint. People working for the US government created this system over the internet. However, people at NRL soon realized their major limitation.
The United States government can't simply run an anonymity system for everybody and then use it themselves only, because then every time a connection came from it, people would say, oh, it's another CIA agent looking at my website, if those are the only people using the network. So you need to have other people using the network so that they blend together.
So what he's saying that for the network to be truly anonymous, it has to be available to everyone and not just the US government. So NRL was forced to release their onion routing technology to the public. The technology was released under an open source license and became Tor, or the onion router. Tor was designed to prevent browsing activity from being tracked back to the user. Today millions of people use Tor for different kinds of purposes, everything from browsing on daily basis to illegal criminal activities. Tor is the most popular among the browsers, and together they make what is called the dark web. Subsequently, the dark web forms a small part of the deep web. The deep web is that part of the internet which cannot be indexed by the search engines. It's nothing like the dark web because most of us use it all the time. If you visit this link, you will find an unlisted video on my YouTube channel because no search engine will display that video. It will be classified as the deep web content. Other examples of deep web content includes online banking, webmail, dynamic pages, subscription only information like Netflix or YouTube paid videos, databases, text content that exists outside of conventional HTTP or HTTPS protocols, and everything that is password or paywall protected. Beyond the prying eyes of Google and Bing, there exists a vast cyber frontier known as the deep web. As you can imagine, deep web has a lot more content than the surface web. How much more? That no one knows. But by some estimates, experts say the deep web is 500 times larger than the surface web. All we can say for certain is that deep web content covers the vast majority of the content on the World Wide Web, and the dark web is a fraction of deep web, which consists of numerous number of darknets, which requires a specific software and authorization to access it. Okay, so now we know what's on the surface web and we know what's on the deep web, but what do we find on the dark web, more commonly the darknet known as Tor? As I mentioned, you can use Tor for almost everything you do on the surface web, like browsing the web, watching videos, checking your emails, using social media sites, and everything, you name it. But the dark web aspects comes in the form of hidden services. A hidden service is a website that can only be accessed by Tor, and the web address for that website will always end up with .onion. If I try to access this website with my web browser Opera, nothing happens. It will only connect using specialized software such as the Tor Browser. This is the dark web, just one site on the dark web. This particular website is known as the Hidden Wiki, and it lists as many publicly known hidden services as possible. In 2014, Facebook launched its own hidden service on dark web. Ahima is another, DuckDuckGo is another site, and an endless list goes on. But definitely there is another darker side to the dark web, and this is just as far as I'll go, because anonymity attracts so many people and can be used for both legal as well as illegal purposes. In October 2013, the FBI took down a website known as Silk Road. Launched in February 2011, the modern Silk Road was a Tor-protected illegal drug emporium. According to the FBI, this online drug market was created and run by criminal mind Ross William Albrecht. At the time of the service's shutdown, it was estimated that it had earned over $1.2 billion in revenue and $80 million in commission. And Silk Road was just one site among many, which are doing the same business on the dark web. You can find websites that offer murder for hire services. While assassinations are very unlikely to occur, these websites can definitely be found on the dark web. But some of the most disturbing things out there is the massive amount of animal and human torture, such as the red rooms. Red rooms are the sites where people can supposedly pay to watch someone being tortured, and can also direct what torture method to be used while it's being carried out on a live webcam. Perhaps there is one more disturbing thing that I have ever heard on the dark web, is a cooking website that had disturbingly accurate instructions on how to cook a human woman, and in detail they mentioned how to cut and what skin types to use and how to keep them alive for as long as possible as they were being cooked. But there is another popular illegal activity which I don't even want to say, but I have to while talking about the dark web, is child pornography sites. This is something so painful for anybody, but unfortunately there are people who want nothing but pleasure from the suffering of other people. Some other stuff that people are interested into is cannibalism. There is even a place called Cannibal Cafe, where cannibals from all over the world discuss how to find victims, how to prepare them, and in some cases buy and trade body parts from them to eat. There is an entire community on the dark web who like human torture. There is a place called the Human Experiment, and they believe that not all humans are equal, for some of them are born superior to others. They experiment with living peoples, like injecting bleach into pregnant women, forced gender swap, exposure to harmful radiations, starvation, and several other kinds of tortures. Other than this, there are some parts of the deep web that are much more useful and interesting to everyone. The deep web stores the largest virtual libraries you could possibly imagine. It is a great space for researchers, students, and teachers, since what they can find in the deep net will be more probably not be available from the standard search engines. The internet is so much more larger than just the social media and the typical Google or Yahoo searches. As much as 90% of the internet is only accessible through deep web websites. Using Tor itself isn't an illegal activity, nor is going on many deep websites. The only illegal activity is what would be illegal out in the real world. The idea of the Wild West of internet is alive again using the deep web. So, if you want to visit that part of the internet or not, the choice is yours.